Hello. Looks like I am live and really excited to chat with you today about methods and modalities. If you are online and happen to be listening in, go ahead and say hi in the comments. I'd love to take questions uh, and interact with you a little bit. So if you're there, say hi. I'll try to keep an eye out here. In fact, I'm going to move this down a little bit so I'm not looking up off into the distance. And excellent. So today, methods and modalities. What do I mean by this? And what I mean is that ideally, ideally meetings have a little more structure than we typically default to. And um, when we think about structure for meetings, we can surely create an agenda, but often agendas are just lists of topics. And I think there can be so much more if we really take a step back and think about, well, what is the purpose and objective that we're really trying to solve for, and then ladder into that. Borrowing from learning experience design, how can we take some backwards design elements and create these moments that can not only drive to or ladder into our purpose, but also be nice assessment points that we can use to basically adapt in real time how we might maneuver. And so this is what we're talking about today. And there's a vast library of pre-existing frameworks and methods available. And I really encourage folks to branch outside of what you may have first encountered with facilitation. If this is all very new to you, then there's going to be a lot of great things to think about here. I actually created a roll up um, of methods and modalities that I think could be really, really helpful for you all. And let me just share that in the chats. Actually, I don't even know if that comes through. I guess it goes to YouTube but not to LinkedIn. But look, I can post it up right here. So it's voltagecontrol.com/blog/workshop methods activities. So check that out because a lot of what I'm talking about today, you can really go get a visual of um, what these things are and maybe how to put them to use. So definitely check that out. And let's talk a little bit about some of my favorite tools. One of the ones I love the most is frameworks is liberating structures, and it's a set of 34 different tools that you can pick from to spice up your meetings. Ultimately, they have a philosophy that we need to distribute control, meaning that anyone can be a facilitator if we set the initial conditions right and we're very clear about our purpose. So as long as we follow a few principles, we can all lean in and get really great results. Um, and on mobile, the link is unavailable. That's interesting. Might have to just I'll look into that and see. Should work fine on mobile. I wonder if you go to the blog, maybe you could search on methods or even just search Google. It might just be a problem with the clicking on the link. Happy to figure that out later. But so in the liberating structure space, we've got about 34 methods, and there's some really amazing ones. I'm going to talk about some of the specific ones, but to really think about modalities being the frameworks, and I like to point out to people that the modalities are not something that you have to be super rigid about. I think part of it comes from dogma, or maybe it comes from just it's what I know, it's what I've learned. But people tend to get stuck in silos, or they'll be in a lane because they maybe learn design thinking, or they maybe they're a scrum master, so they learned a few games, like they know planning poker and they know ballpoint and they know some of these other games to help teach Kanban or other tools. And um, if we if we instead think about how we can move beyond this first initial thing we learned, the way we got initiated into the work, we can often find great results in mixing and matching different modalities. So I really encourage people to not only look within inside the microcosm you live in and you learned in, but really branch out. So if you are into game storming, then think about like checking out liberating structures. If you're into MG Taylor, then maybe you should like double down on some design thinking stuff, or get the Thinking Wrong book, or look into the uh, art of hosting or authentic relating. I think authentic relating is really phenomenal, especially when you look at a lot of the tools that we build and use. They're really focused on well, a lot of them are focused on discovering solutions in the world, and we can certainly point them inward. And I've seen people have great results at taking design thinking and turning it around and using it on the team. And how can we create better user experience, a better employee experience? And I think art of relating, or authentic relating, is a really powerful notion. Some really amazing games in there to check out. So let's talk about some specific activities that I love. Out of liberating structures, impromptu networking is so powerful. It's a really great way to just kick things off and let people get to know each other, especially in this very distanced world we find ourselves in. We can connect people together through a really simple prompt. Just think about what is a prompt that will ladder into our purpose, and maybe there's 2 or 3 prompts, and then afterwards we might debrief. We might come together and say, well, what surfaced out of that? And then not only does that provide some networking, some connection, but it's also seeding into our first activity. So I'm a real big fan of any warm up, anytime that we're inserting something that might have an adjacent purpose to our cause, but we know we need to get people into that mindset. But can it still flow into our purpose? Can it still lead into the next activity? Crazy Eights is also another big favorite. Let's just like rapid fire generate variations, riffs, new versions of our ideas. And I think just that time pressure and just the sheer volume of having to do more and more, and the buzzers going off and you're moving on to the next one, can be really, really fun. And if you want to mix it up, you can do rotating Crazy Eights, where you, after you do a Crazy Eight, you pass the paper and someone else has to add to the next square. And then eventually you get it back, and it's not only the thing you started with, but it's a bunch of other ideas if we want to cross-pollinate. Really big fan of the note and vote. So where we come together and we're going to all write down some individual ideas, and then we're going to share them up together, and then we're going to vote on them. Really, really amazing way to collect input from the team, come to a really quick decision. And definitely check out I think the note and vote really fantastic. You can lift it out and use it in any meeting. Even if you don't need to do a vote, just giving that silent reflection time at the beginning is a really great activity, if you will, to put in to the beginning of a meeting. In fact, reflection can be really powerful at any point. Really powerful at the beginning, because we might want to boot people up. We might want to get their heads into the work we're doing. And it could be helpful at the end of an activity or at the end of a series of activity for folks to be able to take time to integrate. So definitely take a moment to plan an integration and reflection time into your agendas. Let's see. Another one of my favorites would be Scamper. And in fact, real big fan of the work that was done by some folks, I believe, at the University of Iowa, and I can't remember all the schools that were involved, but really, really amazing stuff. And they generate 75 different heuristics, and these are design heuristics for inspiring ideas. And it's similar to if you've heard of analogous inspiration. So we might be thinking along a certain online. We can pull a card, shuffle the cards, kind of look through them, and pick some specific heuristics. So let me just pull a card and we'll see what we get. Boom. So we got layer. So layer. How can we add layers? How would adding layers impact our design? Let's see what the next one we get. How to allow the user to assemble. So now we're kind of doing like an IKEA model. How does that impact the user experience if we let them assemble it? Does that impact the design in any interesting and fun way? Does that give a better user experience? They have a deeper bond with the product. So big fan of the 77 heuristics. You don't have to get the cards. You can just Google it. They're available online. And John Fitch and I wrote a book called How to Remix Anything, and we included the 7 heuristics into our remix canvas. And so it's a riff on lightning demos and analogous inspiration, but it's like turned into its own specific little workshop that you can do. And you can go to our website, voltagecontrol.com/resources, scroll down. All of our visual templates are there at the bottom. Whether you use Mural or you use Miro, we have versions of both. And How to Remix Anything's on there, so you can open the canvas and just get to work. I think it's a really great way for teams to inspire each other and to try some new stuff. And so that's the How to Remix Anything. Let me see here. What's another thing? If you've never done it before, I think card sorting can be really powerful. And that's where you are seeding some ideas or some different options. Maybe the team's struggling with a few different priorities, or there's some different factors at play, or we can't necessarily follow down. We had to distinguish between the various different paths that are really important to us. And the Ready has a really awesome set of tension cards. They're too far to grab, but the Ready does some awesome organizational design work. Their CEO wrote a book called Brave New Work. And these tension cards are basically tensions that you might face as a team. But regardless of what cards you might have, whether they're some you bought or some you made or something you just invented, or maybe you even created a list of items with the team within the workshop, and then you can give them these cards and have them sort them into piles, and you can design the piles such that it helps them differentiate and sort and what you're doing is you're helping them prioritize. So for instance, let's say one pile is just reject. Another pile is we must do this. Another pile is we might do this. Well, then after the first round, then you'll wipe the rejects and the maybes, and you'll focus in on the must. And then you'll have them further refine those. And so basically we're just, culling it down like round by round. And so that can be really powerful. I think not only can it be used for this kinds of prioritization type sorting, we can do semantic type sorting as well. Because there might be a semantic or a bucket or a category that you want to dive deeper into. So once they've pushed them into that category, then you really focus on those and then spend all your efforts on those, because the more we can constrain and limit options, the easier it is for us to come up with solutions. And we're not trying to boil the ocean. We can simplify our problem space. So card sorting, really powerful, another great activity. And I don't have enough time to go into it, but Scamper is a lot of fun. And I might have mentioned it quickly before I went into analogous inspiration, but definitely look up Scamper. It's similar to the design heuristics, where we're going to substitute, combine, reverse, adapt. We're going to modify. We're going to put to another use. We're going to eliminate. And so there's basically these verbs that you're just prompted with. And as you go through the different verbs, it can inspire you to think about how it would adapt the end product, the end output. So definitely check it out. So some of the stuff I've mentioned today has come from the design sprints, which clearly was inspired by design thinking and agile. You can also find some of the stuff in Liberating Structures, and finally game storming. So check out game storming because some of the stuff I mentioned is from game storming. So my point is, I just wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about modalities and then methods/activities. Thanks for listening. Go check these things out because meetings can be so much better if you take a little bit of intentionality into them. You don't have to go crazy. Even just one little activity can really focus the meeting on some distinct outcomes. For extra credit, go check out our 10 meeting mantras. Just Google voltage control 10 meeting mantras. We can put some links in the comments later. But hope you enjoy. It was fun going live. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.